We head to Silverstone for Streamline's first home Grand Prix. Investors are expecting our best result of the season and we need to deliver. Andy Wallace makes his debut for March and all the usual action will unfold. The 1988 British Grand Prix is next. Welcome everybody back to the next episode of Streamline. Today's episode 8, and as you heard in the introduction, it is the British Grand Prix. Our first ever home Grand Prix as a team. Martin Brundle is rearing to go. Martin Donnelly has been in the car for a test session midweek and he's very happy after that. He's down in the bottom centre of the screen, 68 overall. Constructors standings going into this one, it's McLaren leading the way pretty dominantly, and then it's anybody's guess who's going to get second place. It's most likely going to be between Ferrari and Lotus, but Arrows after that 1-2 finish in Detroit, they're still 4th place, only 5 points off second place Ferrari. Streamline down in 17th place, but we do bring some upgrades today, which is always good. Martin Brundle has now started 61 races, has scored no points for the team. Obviously, we're nowhere near competitive enough for points, and his motivation, relationship with the team and morale is all very, very, very low. Martin Donnelly, though, he's very happy because he's just had his test session midweek, which does come with a few benefits for the team, most notably a new sponsor. Let's have a look at the news for the British Grand Prix. After his big crash during qualifying for the French Grand Prix, Ivan Capelli has been ruled out for the rest of the season after suffering fractures in both legs. Novice driver Andy Wallace has been drafted in to replace him. Piquet has once again lambasted his team after suffering a 4th retirement in a row in France, the Brazilians slowly drifting away from Senna in the championship. Ligier were dealt a blow at their home Grand Prix with a double DNF, the team owner stating that the result has really affected the team's position with internal stakeholders as a lot was riding on that result. Williams bring their second car update of the season with a new diffuser arriving in time for their home Grand Prix. AGS bring a new weight-saving upgrade to their car, and the news Arrows were waiting for. Their final big upgrade of the year arrives with a new front and rear wing, new side pod design and a new diffuser. They're hoping this upgrade solidifies their position in the Constructors' Championship. Benetton's Works Ford engine sees a slight performance output improvement. Streamline fans will be happy with the home team bringing their final big upgrade of the year with a slightly improved front wing, a big upgrade to the car weight and a small diffuser upgrade. Minardi are set to introduce a new body design for Silverstone, and finally Ligier are set to bring a huge update to their car featuring a new front wing, a brand new body design. Could this be what the team so sorely needs? That's all for the news. Big upgrades for the Streamline car then, which actually jumps us up only a little bit on the whole list there on the right hand side. Streamline are now better than Zakspeed and Osella. The Ligier upgrade though, that was a big one. They jumped from being 13th best all the way to 9th best. They'll be hoping that upgrade can do them the world of good. So on to the mail, and the first mail is from Matt Hughes. He says, "Hi boss, as you would have already seen, we have the brand new upgrades on the car this weekend. As the team has limited resources, this will unfortunately be the final upgrade this year. It puts the car ahead of 2 of our rivals in the car performance charts. My job on this year's car is now complete. We have achieved a 5-point upgrade across the 2 upgrade packages, which I think has been quite successful considering our resources." I'd agree. Hopefully we can put more into the initial car that we make for 1989, and hopefully with a bit more backing, financial backing, more support in the team, we can continue to upgrade the car longer into the next year than we can this year. Martin Donnelly has been out testing. He says this: "Thank you so much for the chance to test the 1988 Streamline car. I loved the experience. As promised, I have secured an Irish sponsor for the remainder of the season. The company is called Glen Dimplex. They manufacture electrical goods and are more than willing to pay their way onto the car on the body somewhere. I'll put you in contact with their representative so you can put pen to paper on a deal." That was fantastic news. We do need more sponsorship money to come in, and it might hopefully make the livery look a bit more enjoyable to witness. About sponsors again, Barry Goodman coming in and saying, "You've done a good job with Martin Donnelly. It is the level I expect of you. On to more pressing matters, I have been receiving sponsorship proposals for the rear wing area of the car, which will replace Toshiba. Please discuss this with your team and make a decision soon." So we have 2 options. The first being Clinton's, which is a greeting card / birthday card, whatever sort of card producer, I suppose, and seller, and they've just been floated on the London Stock Exchange as of, I believe, May 1988, somewhere around there. The option 2 is Paragon, which they're a financial services company recently founded in 1985. If you want to vote on which we go for, make sure to join the Discord for Streamline down in the description below, and then head to the sponsors section. You're free to vote. Of course, it's our home Grand Prix this weekend, and Barry Goodman had this to say: "This is it, our first ever home Grand Prix as a team. Lint are expecting a good result, and so are our other sponsors, so the minimum I want this weekend is a personal best result. Our previous best was 13th place, so a 12th place finish here would go down great. Many of our staff members are local to this race and have family and friends in attendance, so don't let them down." It is a lot of pressure, and he's right. We've only achieved a 13th place, I think 3 times this year, or maybe twice. So if we could go one better and get a 12th place, it'll make everybody happy. Good news though, Rexona have signed on for the rest of the season. So there for the remaining 9 races. Toshiba have 1 race left on the sponsorship. That'll be replaced by one of the new ones, which we can vote on in the Discord. And the new Martin Donnelly sponsor, Irish, whatever it was, they can go on one of the body sides. And just before we get into this race weekend, let's have a look at what the news has been saying about Formula 1. Fabio Missio from What F1 has been saying it was business as usual for Ayrton Senna in France as he claimed his 2nd victory of the year. His teammate Alain Prost didn't have such a great weekend. Prost almost failed to qualify, and during the race the Frenchman retired early on with gearbox issues. Piquet went on to retire for a 4th race running, which means Senna now boasts an 11-point lead in the championship. Big lead for Senna. Who's going to catch him? I'm not sure anybody will. David Paul from Unimotors is talking about Andy Wallace. The 27-year-old British driver named Andy Wallace is the lucky person selected to replace Ivan Capelli at March. But who is he? Wallace has been testing this year's March throughout the year so far, but his biggest achievement arrived just a couple of months ago, where he placed 1st overall at the 1988 Le Mans 24-hour race alongside Jan Lammers and Johnny Dumfries. So Andy Wallace is a bit of an unknown in the open wheel space, or Formula 1 at least, but he definitely has decent experience and good credentials. James Emptage from Inside F1 has been talking about Ligier. Ligier sadly failed to even reach half race distance at their home Grand Prix this weekend, or last weekend. But there might be a bit of hope for the French outfit. Big upgrades are set to arrive for the 88 British Grand Prix, which could elevate the team up the grid. I'd pay close attention to both Arnoux and Johansson this weekend to see how they get on with the new car. Well, that's all for the news, that's all for the mail, that's all for the sponsor updates. Let's get into pre-qualifying for the 1988 British Grand Prix. And pre-qualifying was underway. Gabriele Tarquini in the Coloni was first out onto circuit and duly took provisional pole position, or first place. I suppose it's not a pole position. Stefano Modena then took it off him, went fastest. Alex Caffi headed onto the circuit. Scuderia Italia, their upgraded car throughout this year, he went fastest then. And Martin Brundle was second to last of the group out there, and he duly took 2nd place, just slightly slower than Alex Caffi. Couldn't quite match the Scuderia Italia's car in terms of pace, but Caffi, Brundle, Tarquini and Modena all make it through very close there, especially the top 3. Oscar Larori in the Eurobrun misses out. He's missed out in almost every single race this year. As you would have known, at the start of the season, the pre-qualifying teams will be reassessed after today's race. So most likely Streamline will not have to pre-qualify from now on till the end of the season. It depends how it's worked out. Maybe based on constructor standings, we might still have to pre-qualify. We'll have to wait and see. Let's check out what happened in the main qualifying session for the British Grand Prix. So qualifying was underway. Gerhard Berger in the Ferrari first out, so he took provisional pole position. Piquet's teammate Nakajima was out on circuit but could only manage 3rd. Lotus looking pretty good though. Prost wiped the field. He's not leaving it to chance like he did in France, and he goes to provisional pole as Martin Brundle heads out for his first run, but it instantly goes wrong. His first lap, first corner of his first lap, slightly wide across the curb, spinning it on the grass, so Brundle will definitely have to go again, and that's exactly what he did, across the line with a 19.6. It puts him in 15th place for now, but not too great. Ayrton Senna could not pip his teammate Alain Prost, who went even quicker. Senna did eventually go out, but was only fast enough for 2nd place. Then we saw Senna take pole position. Normal service had been resumed as Wallace makes his debut on the circuit in the March. Martin Brundle across the line to improve a 19.5. And then he goes again, and yet again, it's another 119.5. So Brundle only getting small improvements. Let's now ride on board with Brundle on his fastest lap in the session. It's Streamline and Brundle's home Grand Prix today. Into Copse, it's a third gear corner. You can use as much of that curb on the outside as you dare. We've seen Brundle already make a mistake there. Hopefully it's his last mistake of the weekend. Then it's a flat left-hander down towards a right and then a left. There is a straight between the right and the left. It's the Maggots-Beckett's complex onto the Hanger Straight. The Hanger Straight goes underneath a service road that goes across the top of the circuit, and that will bring an end to the first sector on this circuit. Brundle down in 26th right now, so he needs to find some time if he wants to guarantee a place on the grid. Into Stowe corner, yet again it's a third gear corner, but then you can get on the power early, up the gears into another right-hander. Brundle right now up by almost a tenth of a second on his previous best. Senna's 14.8 looks to be claiming yet another pole position. I believe that might be his 6th pole position of the year if he can hold on to this result. A very short circuit now as Brundle approaching the final chicane. It's a heavy braking zone. You can ride these curbs as much as you want as long as you don't unsettle the car. And up by 2.5 tenths through the first two sector. It's looking good for Martin Brundle. Down towards the line. It's a 119.3, 23rd place. But where is it on the starting grid?
Go, go, go! Spirit, Senna!
And here is the starting grid for the British Grand Prix. It is a Senna and Prost all McLaren front row. Ferrari lock out the second row, Berger ahead of Alboreto, and then it's the two Lotus drivers, Piquet, the reigning world champion, ahead of his teammate Nakajima. Mansell at his home Grand Prix starts from 7th with his teammate Patrese in 8th. Then it's the two Benettons on the 5th row, Boutsen and Nannini. Eddie Cheever, the hero from the Detroit Grand Prix, 11th with his teammate Derek Warwick in 12th. Andy Wallace on his debut qualifies ahead of his teammate Maurizio Gugelmin. René Arnoux sets off from 15th place. It's 16th place for his teammate Stefan Johansson. It's 2 by 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 2 and by 2. Alio ahead of Daumas, his teammate. Then it's Perez Sala in the lead Minardi. Jonathan Palmer at his home Grand Prix in 20th place. Pierluigi Martini breaks the 2 by 2 duct and he's in 21st place. Hugh Rothengatter making it onto the grid once again in 22nd. Home favourites, well maybe, Streamline's Martin Brundle in 23rd ahead of Strife, Caffey and Lorini. That means Gabriel Tarquini misses out, Stefano Modena also misses out, and the two Zakspeed yet again not making it onto the grid. It's a two-stop strategy, no risk of rain, and there's 65 laps ahead of the drivers today. Martin Brundle opting for pitting on lap 25 and lap 45, and the objective is to achieve our personal best result of the season, which would mean 12th or higher. Can we do it? Well, there's only one more thing to do, and that's go racing. The 1988 British Grand Prix is next.
It seems that would be for a good result here, mate, so good luck.
Here we are on the grid, and those are the lights. This race is about to get underway. Martin Brundle, the revs go up and the lights go out, and it's underway for the British Grand Prix of 1988. Brundle getting a solid start, already almost side by side, or maybe even ahead of Hugh Rothengatter, who's on the outside there in the Tyrrell. The Minardi, though, of Pierluigi Martini diving up the inside of a host of drivers. He's already into the top 20 as we go through Copse Corner for the first time. Brundle sandwiched between the two Tyrrells. He's got Palmer ahead of him, and that's Prost going real slow. He made a bad mistake out of, I think that's turn 3, so Prost already down to 7th place. Not what he wanted. He started up in 2nd place. Not ideal start as we ride back on board with Martin Brundle. There's Palmer going off the circuit. He might be under pressure soon from Martin Brundle. It'll be Tyrrell of Palmer. Never mind, it's the Tyrrell of Hugh Rothengatter to force his way through and overtake Martin Brundle. Can Brundle fight back though? on the run down the hanger straight towards Stowe Corner. Rothengatter's gone off the circuit, so that's another position for Brundle. But I believe they're side by side now, and Rothengatter's Tyrrell is more powerful in a straight line and braking in front of him. There's contact.
I like it getting pushed out of the way here.
It's Philip Strife again. I'm sure that's happened before during this season. And Philip Strife getting his elbows out early on here. And Larini gets past as well.
Good start, let's settle down now.
Well, 25th place for Brundle right now as we approach the end of the first lap. Up the inside into the final chicane, Larini, a sitting duck there, so Brundle regains one of those positions up to 24th. And on the exit of that final corner, getting a great run against Philip Strife up to 23rd.
Hello, Martin, good job.
Good job, Martin, says the race engineer, as now Strife looking for a move up the inside. This is the second lap.
And this guy too sits in here. He's happened 3 times now.
Brundle really trying to get his elbows out as well as Strife and Brundle come to blows yet again. As this is Derek Warwick trying to get past Gugelmin. He goes to the inside of turn 3, and that'll be for 12th place. Gugelmin gaining a position at the start, but then losing it again. That's Palmer, and in the background I believe that might be Rene Arnoux. Something's happened between those two, and they're both going to be out of this race. I think they just had a coming together. Sadly, the race director missed it, but he's not going to miss this one. This is Prost versus Patrese, and Prost is going to switch to the inside here of turn 3 and get past Patrese. That's for 7th place. Next up will be Nakajima in 6th place, the Lotus driver currently occupying that final points position, but not for long. Prost, well, track limits questionable there as we go across the start-finish line to begin lap 5. Prost on the inside will make it through. So Prost up into the points yet again, as here's Stefan Johansson. We've already seen one Ligier retire earlier on. We didn't see the incident, sadly, but Johansson, the only Ligier left in this race. Or is he? He's going to pull off to the side of the track. Johansson is out. All those Ligier upgrades mean absolutely nothing, as by the end of lap 5, they are both out of the race. As we ride back with Prost, who's trying to make a move on home favourite Nigel Mansell. Mansell defending for all his might, but that Williams is nothing compared to the Honda-powered McLaren behind. The battle for 5th will rage on down the main straight as we start lap number 9. Prost looking to the inside line for Copse Corner. That'll be a brave move. He's sending it from far back. Mansell might run out of road on the outside there, and he does, and he has to back out of the move. Prost up into 5th place. As back on board with Martin Brundle. It's lap 9, and he's putting pressure on Hub Rothengatter in the Tyrrell, who seems to be struggling on his tyres at this stage of the race. Brundle side by side with Rothengatter across the start-finish line. That's 19th place.
That's 19th place.
Oh, thank you. There we go. The race engineer confirming it is 19th place. Brundle doing a good job there as Rothengatter's on the inside. I think they just made contact. We'll see a replay.
I don't contact. I don't know if it was my fault or not.
Well, you be the judge watching at home. Was that fault of Brundle or Rothengatter? I think it was really a racing incident, but Rothengatter losing a couple of positions because of it. As now we look towards Wallace and Gugelmin, the two March drivers battling away. And Andy Wallace on his debut re-overtakes his teammate. He lost that position to Gugelmin at the start, but he's got back through now. As this is Dalmas and Alio, the two LaRouche drivers. We saw in qualifying it's 2x2 for all of the teams, all the way down to 18th place, including these LaRouche drivers, but they've switched around there. I think that's Alio overtaking Dalmas, or the other way around, and I think it's going to switch around again. As the slipstream very powerful down that hanger straight, it switches around. That's for 15th place in this one. As Derek Warwick at his home Grand Prix, the crowd going crazy watching the arrows. He's scored a podium. Oh, no, it's not going to be a podium here today. He's out of this one. Derek Warwick on lap 13, retiring. That might be brake failure there for the home hero. I don't know. He's not really a home hero, but he has got points this season. Talking about points, no points for Martin Brundle this season. That's painful.
Yeah, I'm at a spin. Looks mate, head down, carry on.
Yeah, that's the first Martin Brundle mistake of the race, and now he has to re-overtake all those drivers he lost positions to during that spin. As Gugelmin into the pits, Rothengatter disposed of. Don't know if Gugelmin might actually have an issue there, so Gugelmin, I think, might be retiring from the race as Rothengatter re-overtakes Brundle. Brundle trying to send it back up the inside into Stowe Corner, scaring Rothengatter out of the move. but Hub Rothengatter somehow holds onto the position for now, as lap 15, about 1/3 of the way through this race, Senna leads, Berger second, Alboreto, who we're currently looking at, was in 3rd place. PK is being closed down by Alain Prost. PK and Prost, I believe, have the same amount of points so far this year, but they do trail Ayrton Senna by a full 11 points. So if Senna retired and one of these two won the race, it wouldn't change the championship lead. Other notable names in the top 20, of course, we've got some British drivers at their home Grand Prix. Martin Brundle just squeezing into the top 20 there, further down. Gugelmin, though, we missed that. He did retire. It's gearbox issues, which means one of the marchers is retired. The sole remaining march, Andy Wallace, enjoying a fantastic debut so far. He's having a great time of it out there. As Rothengatter versus Brundle yet again. It's lap 15, the end of lap 15, and that's the move for Brundle. Nice one.
I gotta say, guys, the updates are working pretty well.
That might be the first positive team radio we've ever heard from Martin Brundle. He's liking the updates, and this might get even more positive as he's putting a move on Philip Strife. That's for 17th place.
You're making great progress, Martin.
It's all happy days down at Streamline, even with the mistake. Or is it? Strife once again almost making contact with Brundle. This time Brundle really gives him no space on the exit of that final corner and holds on to the position. Ayrton Senna on lap 24, the race leader, into the pits. There's been some of his rivals already in the pits a few laps prior to this. But for now, I believe we will see the Ferrari of Michele Alboreto take the race lead. So Berger has been into the pits. So is Prost and PK, but Alboreto staying out for a bit longer, might just take the race lead here. Senna's rejoining. It's going to be very close on the exit, but Alboreto gets ahead, so the Ferrari leads here at Silverstone. But for how much longer? Here's Senna on the end of lap 26 to put that wrong right. They're side by side as they head down towards Copse. Senna on the inside, Alboreto on the outside as Berger is closing in the background, and Senna moves back into the lead of this race, and I dare say he might never lose that lead. Rothengatter, though, has lost his gearbox. He's slowly pulling into the pits. He was battling with Brundle for a number of laps, but the Tyrrell driver can go no further and retires before half race distance.
Boxing this lap, please, Martin. Box this lap.
Martin Brundle able to extend his pit stop, or at least first stint, by a couple of laps, and he pits on the end of lap 27. A very strange pit entrance here at Silverstone. A chicane, and that heads back towards the circuit again, and then you cut back in for the pit lane itself. As Martin Brundle slowing down, stopping on his marks. He'll be serviced and will lose a few positions here. He might just rejoin in 17th place though, so not bad.
You put 16 laps of fuel in and you'll rejoin in 17th place.
So it turns out it might be a slightly smaller middle stint than first expected because of the fuel efficiency of the Streamline now as we hit lap 30. Senna still leads, Berger second and Alboreto third. It's two Ferraris on the podium. Prost is down in 5th place. He jumped PK in the pits. Nakajima on a one-stop has not pit yet, so the Lotus driver up into 4th place. Nigel Mansell at his home Grand Prix not in the points. And we're currently looking at Thierry Boutsen in 8th place. Patrese chasing him down right behind in 9th in the Williams. Eddie Cheever, a winner this season. He's in 10th place, but far off the points right now. And look at that, Martin Brundle up in 17th place. Oh, he's gone wide again. That's where he spun earlier on. He spun there in qualifying as well, if you remember, earlier on this weekend. As this is a battle here between Patrese and Boutsen. We just saw them on lap 30. It's lap 35 now. And finally, Patrese finding his way through. PK has gone up a position. I think Nakajima has pit. He rejoined down in 9th place. This is Cheever versus Nannini for a top 10 position. I think it's been switching around between these two for a number of laps, and Eddie Cheever once again retakes a top 10 position in this race as we switch our attention to Larousse versus March. They were battling pretty close on track earlier on in the race, and Andy Wallace on the outside on his debut, giving a lot of space to Yannick Daumas. Daumas forcing his Larousse through and into 12th place. Can Andy Wallace somehow fight back? He'll be hoping he can, As that's Patrese stopped on the circuit. It's not good news for Williams. They've only got one car left in, which is home favourite Mansell. But Riccardo Patrese out of the race. Senna into the pits on lap 45. Rejoins in clear air. Nobody near him whatsoever. It's Ayrton Senna's race to lose now after Prost's terrible start to the race. Lap 45. About 3/4 of the way through this one now. And we're currently looking at Andy Wallace, who's been so impressive on his debut. He won the Le Mans 24-hour race a few months ago, and now he's showing everybody what he is made of. Running in 13th place right now, so not troubling the points or the top 10. But a solid finish here in front of his home crowd could do him a world of good in the driver transfer market for future seasons. Maybe some teams looking at him for 1989 after a really good performance like this, but Senna still leads the way, as we've mentioned. Nakajima once again up to 4th place due to other drivers pitting, so Nakajima could be on for a good result, as this is Martini versus Brundle. Brundle now battling with a Minardi, and wouldn't that be a fantastic thing to see? Brundle getting past the Minardi's put Martini under huge pressure. Martini runs wide, and through goes Martin Brundle into 15th.
Yes, come on. That was a good one. I enjoyed that.
He's loving it today, is Martin Brundle. Really positive to see. Oh, Martini up the inside as Brundle is gunning for pit lane. This is on lap 45, and Martini goes into the pits as well. So it's going to be a race in the pits between the Minardi crew and the Streamline crew. Let's see who has the better bottle, who is going to hold on to this position. It's only the lowly position of 15th, but it all counts come the end of the season.
Leave it to the guys in the pits who are getting back.
Okay, well, race engineer seems confident as we stop on our marks. The Streamline crew get to work taking the tyres off, putting the tyres back on, putting the fuel in the car to take us all the way to the end of the race. And there's Martini still stationary.
Can it speed on him? You'll have to buy the picture or a drink after the race, mate.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Brilliant camaraderie between both of them, but it's all thrown away now as Martin Brundle goes into a silly little spin. He's going to lose all that time he gained during that middle phase of the race.
Yeah, another spin by me. Sorry about that. I'll get him back.
At least he's confident he will re-overtake him. This is Prost against Alboreto for a podium position. The McLaren forcing his way through into the first corner. Alboreto relegated down to 4th, and now Prost just has Berger ahead of him. As Alex Caffey putting pressure on the AGS of Philip Strive. Caffey, after the first lap, was already 30 seconds off the back of the chasing pack. I don't know why. He must have had a really bad start. Maybe a spin at turn 1 that we missed. But Caffey making his way back up the order. And Gerhard Berger, gearbox issues. He was running in a solid 2nd place and would have finished there. But now he's out of the race. Disaster for Ferrari yet again for Berger, and Nannini stopping on circuit. So the Benetton of Alessandro Nannini out of the race. He was running down at the back end of the top 10 anyway, as Martini under huge pressure from Martin Brundle. There's only about 5 laps to go, considering these two are a few laps down, and there's contact on the end of the lap. This current lap, lap 58, we're about to start lap 59. Martini gives in to the position. Martin Brundle.
That's 13th. Let's see if we can close up to Perez Sala.
Martin Brundle up to 13th. We need top 12 to make this race successful. But Ayrton Senna, exiting the final corner for the final time, will cross the line to win his 3rd race of the season and extend his championship lead. Great victory from the Brazilian. But can Martin Brundle close up to Perez Sala enough? No, he cannot. It's going to be another, technically, best result of the season, equaling our best result. It's 13th place for Streamline, 13th place for Martin Brundle.
Apart from the 2 spins, that was a clean race, I'd say. Sadly, we did not get the best result that we've had so far this season. But 13th place at home Grand Prix, well done.
He did a good job, apart from the 2 spins. Maybe 13th, well, 12th place was possible, but Senna does win pretty dominantly. Prost does recover to 2nd place, so it's a McLaren 1-2 finish. The sole Ferrari left in the race at the end. Alboreto claims a podium position. Piquet, he'll be happy to just finish a race for the first time since, I believe, the 4th round or maybe even the 3rd round of the season. His teammate Nakajima in 5th, and Mansell, the only British driver on the podium at the British Grand Prix. Debutant Andy Wallace comes home in 11th place, and if there was a award for driver of the day or best driver in the race, I'd probably have to give it to Andy Wallace on his debut, doing a really good solid job, making no mistakes. Martin Brundle though equaling his best result of the season. We saw a solid 17 drivers reach the checkered flag today, which is good for the reliability side of things. We did, however, see a few key retirements from this one. Palmer and Arnoux getting tangled up together really early on. Johansson retiring early, so it's disaster for Ligier in back-to-back races. Double retirement in their home Grand Prix in France. Double retirement here really early on at the British Grand Prix. Derek Warwick could not make it to the checkered flag at his home race either. And we also saw Gerhard Berger late on lose out on that second place finish. This result means that Senna now leads by 15 points at the halfway point of the season, and I can't really see anybody else catching him up. Prost has had a few decent results. Piquet is really not going to be challenging come round 16 of the year. I can't imagine he will, at least. Mansell, the highest British driver. I don't know why I keep pointing out the British drivers. Maybe it's just because it's the British Grand Prix. This is wrong though. Andy Wallace is up in 29th place. So that is wrong by the graphics department here today. We've had 18 drivers though score points so far this season. Sadly, Streamline's Martin Brundle has fallen even further down. He is now 33rd in the championship. No, sorry, 32nd in the championship after Andy Wallace should be bumped up from 36th all the way up to 29th. McLaren extending their lead in the championship big time, and they almost have double the amount of points of second place Ferrari, who are just ahead of Lotus. That could be a great battle for the remaining 8 races of this season. Arrow's not scoring today. Williams though picking up a single point in their battle for 5th place in the championship with Benetton. 9 teams have scored points so far this year, which is exactly half the amount of drivers who have scored points this year, and still Streamline are not last. They're still ahead of Coloni. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. I really enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new, give the video a like, and join the Streamline Discord if you want to vote on things like sponsor choices, car upgrades, and all those fun stuff. The links are in the description below. If you really do enjoy the content, consider becoming a member of the channel. It really helps me out and really gives me the opportunity to develop and spend more time on these videos, so I can bring you them more often than maybe 2 or 3 a month, which I've been kind of doing right now. I've been busy, but like I said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.